Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show. It's your host, David McKeag, here inside On TV Studios in Soo Online. The show is also powered by ESPN 1400. Soo Online on TV, obviously, and you're listening to the show throughout our multiple media platforms and maybe perhaps through our website, thegamesportshow.com. Very happy that you're able to join us here tonight for the show. And I'm here joined by my co-host and analyst. You guys know him very well, Alex Parr. Alex.
We're doing the whole show today, just you and I.
Just you and I.
Power
Next week and the following week and some weeks coming up, we've got some big stuff coming on in terms of guests. But you and I are rocking glasses together
We
on
can
the
see
show.
into the future.
We
Call
could.
that 2020 vision.
I knew you'd go with that joke. That's why I set that up for you.
I had to. Thank you.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about here. We're going to actually change our format a little bit tonight. We're going to have the NHL right off the hop. Then we're going to have some OHL and NCAA in the second part. And then in the third part of the show, we're going to jump in and talk about the local sports in terms of soccer at Elcoma U, Sioux College, hockey with Sioux College, Sioux Thunderbirds, the Eagles, the Beavers, the Indians, the Sioux Junior Greyhounds. A lot of wrap up there for the local front. Then part 4 will have MLB, and then part 5 will be the In the Pocket segment. So if you want to listen to some previous editions of the show, don't hesitate to listen to our show through thegamesportshow.podbean.com or through our website, thegamesportshow.com. Myself, Scott, EJ, and Butch had a show from ESPN 1400, and you can also check out everything on our previous shows through Soo Online, on TV, YouTube, and everything of such. There's so many platforms and options you can listen to us on here on the Game Sports Show, Alex.
If you're not listening to us or watching us, you're doing something wrong. Come on, guys.
I honestly don't know if someone says they can't find us.
Oh, we'll find them.
We'll find you. Exactly. So, Alex, you know, you can listen to, when we had the show last night, we dove in to talk about some NHL stuff and local front, but we didn't get into a lot of NHL criteria. And I want to jump into some few topics that stuck out. And one that we're going to start off here with the National Hockey League discussion is with Patrick Marleau. Now, people are thinking, oh, you start with a former Leaf, or are they going to start talking about some former Leafs? No. Well, sort of. But we're going to talk about Patrick Marleau and how good he's been doing at the start of this year so far. You know what? He seems like he's in peak form. He hasn't missed a beat. I know some players that do miss some time. Nylander, maybe not as lengthy of time. That takes a long time for you to catch back. But Marleau has started the year, signed a 1-year, $700K deal with the Sharks as he returned on the 8th of October. He has 3 points, 2 goals and assists in 2 games. And the Sharks are 2-0 since he's returned, and now the record's 2-4 after losing their first 4. Coincidence, Alex?
I think yes. I mean, Marleau's done, the Sharks have done a great job utilizing Marleau in a way I don't think the Leafs really done. What Marleau's been doing, he's been more of a net front presence, able to tip some pucks, and he's still got that offensive capability. He knows how the game's played. He knows where people are going to be. The one thing that I ragged on him while he was on the Leafs, though, is his skating, and it still isn't there. So as much as a fairy tale as this could be, I think that fairy tale ending might kind of sputter out a bit. But, I mean, I'm not hoping the worst on the guy because this is such a cool story. And if the Sharks can be successful and maybe even win the big one in the end, that's going to be a perfect story for Thornton, an amazing story for Marleau. I just don't know if we're going to see it, though.
So you have Marleau playing with Thornton together on a line currently right now, which obviously the speed won't be evident on that line. But you know what? You got smarts, you got experience. And the Sharks team started the year 0-4, but this is a team that has a lot of talent.
Absolutely.
They have Erik Karlsson on D, Brent Burns, Vlasic, Jones and Net, Thornton, Marleau, Couture. You have Evander Kane, who I'm actually a big fan of myself, despite his 3-game suspension start of the year, which, you know, could affect the team because he's a top 6 forward on there. And they have a lot of deep guys, you know, but you lose Pavelski in the offseason, which is definitely a big loss. Your captain. You know, that is a change in culture in that room, but they have some good depth on the Sharks, and I think Marleau can be someone who's an affordable kind of enhancement to your lineup, but I can't see him keeping up this pace.
No, definitely not. But I think for the Sharks, teams, or fans, rather, that are looking at an 0-4 Sharks team, that's not a team that's going to stay 0-4.
78 games to go still at that point. Now you have 76.
Yeah, so many games left to go, and people can look at paper and say, that's a really, really good team. The only thing that I think might hold them back is Martin Jones, but that's a conversation for another time.
Patrick Marleau, leave your comments below on how you think he's going to do, if he's going to keep it up. Personally, I obviously don't think he is, but I still think he can hit 15-plus goals this year for the Sharks. I think that'd be a good bargain, especially for someone who has had 1 year at $700,000 this year. And you know what? As the graphic will show right there, he had his nice ovation last game when he came back. You know, Matthews wore the Marleau jersey at the All-Star game last year.
Cool.
So he's just so happy to be back there in San Jose, and good for him. We're happy to see that in Toronto land for sure. Now, moving on to someone that we know from the Sioux quite well, Barrett Hayton. Last week with the show that we all know that you tuned into, and if you have, well, shame on you, you should have. You have the audio and video potential to do so. But Barrett Hayton was included on that show in terms of, well, he hasn't played yet. Oh, he's going to come back. He played 2 nights after that on Thursday from when we had our Thursday recording that you can check out on our website and Podbean page and through anything through Sioux Online on TV, that Barrett Hayton did play. And he's played 2 games since our last recording. And he's got 1 assist. And what a beautiful pass that he made.
Oh my goodness.
Now, he is the Grounds captain. He still has 7 more games with him before using the year of his entry-level contract. So Coyotes got to figure out something to do, but he looked good out there, Alex.
He looked really, really good in that first game. And if you've seen the pass, then you'll know just how good that pass is. The no look, boom, gets Schmaltz a nice setup there for a goal. But as much as he was in the highlights for that pass, he was in the highlights the next game when he got leveled by Cale Maker of the Colorado Avalanche. And that told me maybe he's not physically ready yet. And that's a good transition into our next topic as well, but we're not quite there.
Yeah.
So for Hayton, I feel like if he's going to get tossed around like that, I don't think the Coyotes are going to keep him. They'll say, use a year, get another few pounds stronger, build a little bit more muscle. But, I mean, the passes he was dishing shows that his offensive capabilities are enough to hang in the NHL. Physicality side, maybe not so much.
See, I've always said this, and I think they need to put him with Phil Kessel. I've said that. I just think that makes sense. His vision on the ice. And if you're going to consider keeping him this year, I would say, and I'm not a coach for the Arizona Coyotes. I'm not a manager. I'm a sports show host, former hockey player. So I'm not coach at that level, so I know a different perspective. The practice, you can base some momentum in practice and how someone's doing. But when I think of someone as a sniper, like Phil is, I think of someone like a playmaker that Barrett Hayton is. That old school mentality for me comes in, and I think Barrett would really do well. Now, I know that pass may state different, where when he gave the pass, it looked like he's been playing with those guys, like Schmaltz, those guys for a while. But Barrett Hayton, I think if you're going to say, all right, look, we might consider keeping him, put him with that star talent. That star talent being Phil Kessel, you know, and just moving around the lineup that way. But I think Phil Kessel is a good option for him to play. So if you want to keep him, do that. If not, send him back. Because I know the Sault Ste. Marie Grounds are interested in taking him back. I'm sure they would not want to say no to that. Now, as you said, transitions us into our next topic very nicely. Rasmus Sandin was sent down by the Toronto Maple Leafs after starting the year with the Buds up in the National Hockey League. He defeated out Kent Gravel from playing. Timothy Lingurin on the team. He outplayed Hull at the certain part of the year. Marinson. He outplayed these guys, and he had a great start in terms of, you know, he had 2 assists this year so far in 6 games. He did well, and as the graphics and titles right there, Babcock said, I didn't like it last game when he got hit. In the end, sometimes you got to be a prudent parent.
Yeah, and that's talking about him getting sent down to Abdelkader hit him in the corner when the Leafs were taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Yep. And that was what Babcock said was kind of an aha moment. He didn't like that. You don't want to see a 19-year-old get hit in the head.
Yeah.
As much as he wasn't a deliberate hit to the head by any means. It was just kind of things happen in a game that's so fast. But for Sandin, the whole time he played, I don't think he looked out of step at all. He looked like a great NHL player. Yep. He did a fantastic job on letting when a guy like a Morgan Rielly was playing with him join the rush, and as soon as he saw Rielly take 2 steps, he was back, and he knew exactly where he needed to be. Props to him. Babcock also mentioned he's not getting any power play time. He's not getting any penalty kill time. And how much development can a player really see when you're only playing 15 minutes at most on your best night? It's just so hard to see, and you can see, yeah, the effects of the hit right there. That was kind of the aha moment, and I don't think this will be the end of Sandin. I know people are saying, well, if there's a slew of injuries, he'll come back up. I think he's going to earn himself to be that #1 call-up in a week's time.
Yep, and he could have injuries and everything of such. And I still think a lot of people were surprised that he made the team this year. Not because of his talent by any means, but just because he's still young and in development. And this is a new modern hockey, though, where the youth are going to get that chance to thrive in the National Hockey League. And gone are the days where your top 3 picks are your guys that start right away and they stay in the minors for 5-6 years. The Detroit Red Wing way, I think that would be the right way to call it. It's where they used to do it. They used to develop in Grand Rapids. But now you can get these young guys in the game. And when you have certain young guys in the line, the Leafs do have Timoshev, you know, there's a lot of options with this Leaf team, and a lot of teams in the National Hockey League have this problem with a lot of youth coming up. And having Sandin to go down and just kind of get to play in what he could, get those power play minutes, get that confidence back up a little bit more, he'll be getting called back up. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised, Alex, if he did spend the rest of the year down in the minors as well, because Travis Dermott's on the cusp of coming back. We would say in about 3 weeks' time or so. Mm-hmm. And if that does, where does that sixth defenseman go? And that's where I think Dubas is going to be knocking on the door for a potential sixth defenseman trade. Just saying. I think you got to let Lindgren and Sandin develop a little bit more. Now, before we go to break, absolutely, Alex, I wanted you to give your quick little thumbs up. And you're going to talk more about it at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. We just got a couple seconds left before break, but I want you to discuss something with the Crosby girls quick.
Yeah, the Crosby girls. Now, this is by far the coolest story that I think I've heard in some time. You can see the picture there. So Crosby started a youth hockey program in I believe it was Nova Scotia, and this was a team that he had made 5 years ago. A little bit more than 5 years ago. Sorry about that graphic there. And with the Crosby's girls, they can finally come up and see their star player. There was reactions of the girls turning around, just shocked to see their hero that let them get into hockey, let them play. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to. And that is just so great. Crosby, you've got my thumbs up for the week. You've got my thumbs up for the year. Just too cool to see.
Definitely great stuff. If we have time, we'll make sure we jump back into that by the end of the show. But Alex, take our first break. When we come back, we're going to jump into some OHL and NCAA discussion here on The Game. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. He's Alex, I'm Dave. We're inside On TV Studios here inside Sioux Online. And this is the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. And you listen to us on various different platforms as well, including here with Sioux Online on TV. So as we touched on the top, we won't go through that longer list again, but we will continue our show.
Let's do it.
Let's do that with our glasses on. Looking sharp. You look sharper than I do today. I don't know if anyone wants to comment below who looks sharper.
Keep the tally up all season, so who's the best dresser of the show?
Oh, that is definitely. Right now, you already passed me. I don't know what I'm kind of doing with the multicolor thing here. But getting into talking about some more sports. Hockey, we're going to continue with here. We've already talked about the NHL in the first part. We're going to talk about some NCAA and major junior action. We're going to jump into first the NCAA with the Lake Superior State Lakers. As you heard on yesterday's show with our recording through ESPN 1400, we dove in a lot to talk about the Lake Superior State University Lakers as they took it onto ice last weekend against the Denver Pioneers, and that was one of the top-ranked teams in the country. And yes, Lake State did lose both games to make the record go down to 2-2 to start the season out of 4 games. But when you have those type of games against these higher-ranked teams, okay, I use that term that a lot of people don't like to use in sporting world, but measuring stick. Okay, you have the success that Lake State did have last year. Now they're at the point of where they're trying to build off last year, and they want to continue to improve as an organization. And everyone in Sioux, Ontario, and Sioux, Michigan, and the Upper Peninsula and Northern Ontario who follow Lake State and go to the game should be very excited about what this team is icing. And they did a very good job against Denver last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, especially early in the season, that's when you want to go up against these top teams, because then you can find out, okay, this is what we did right against the best. This is what we did not so great against the best teams. And like you say, people don't want to use the term measuring stick, but that's what you kind of need sometimes. That's what you kind of need to kind of learn what's working for you. And I don't think a 3-1 or a 4-3 loss should be taking away anything from the Lake Superior State Lakers. They're a great team. So let's see how the next few weeks or the next few months goes. Because if you run into Denver again, it could be a very different game.
Could be. Now, it doesn't matter. Seeds are, there's always upsets. And you know what? Lake State almost did pull one off this past weekend. And you know what? Their goaltender, Mittens. They have Mittens in net. You got to love that name.
What a
with
name.
Mittens. That's probably my favorite name in sports right now. But you can check out, they got a great atmosphere inside Lake Superior State University's home rink at the Taffy Able. They got a great seating arrangement. They got some exciting hockey to watch. Make sure you have it marked on your calendars when they are playing so you can go check it out. But Alex, yeah, like you said, the measuring stick. It's a cliche that you use in sports, but you know what? I know people use that in the National Hockey League. You think of it like, okay, you're in the National Hockey League, there's no measuring sticks. You know what? They bring up a good point, I think, to be honest with you. Yeah, maybe the Leafs want to compare where they are against Tampa Bay Lightning or something of such, but the development leagues are NCAA and Major Junior. That is where the term measuring stick is most appropriate in my eyes. And you are ranked by how your team performs. And some schools have more opportunity to recruit and better opportunity overall to recruit because of budget, because of location, everything of such. Everything is location, 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 as the old word and everything goes. So overall, Lake State is improving, and that's the main thing for this program.
Exactly. That's all you can really ask for from a program. I mean, like we say, we want to go back to the 90s and live the heyday of the Greyhounds in Lake Superior State again. But there's going to be some speed bumps along the way. Like you say, location, being so far up north doesn't usually help you too much. But Lake State, if you keep putting out a consistent program that does some damage and comes in those top 20 power rankings on a consistent basis, all that's going to do is keep bringing that name out there and keep on letting recruits know that we're here and we're serious about our hockey.
Definitely should be, and as I said, it's exciting times to be an LSSU fan. Now, the final thoughts with LSSU. This upcoming weekend, the Lakers travel to Ann Arbor, Michigan to play Michigan at the Yost Ice Arena Friday, October the 18th at 7:30 and Saturday the 19th at 7:30. So make sure you have that locked to check out those games with your news. Now, transitioning from the NCAA Lakers to the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds.
Ooh, some news that came in just before we went on the show, too.
Yeah, some good news with the Hounds. You know, they've had a little bit of struggle in terms of, let's just say, going on a little bit of a skid. Okay, just a little bit of a skid. And they decided to make a trade for a veteran defenseman. Alex, I'm going to let you break the trade.
Yeah, Constantino. This trade came in maybe an hour before we went into the studio. And it was a trade that kind of took me back a bit. Well, we saw Ryan Roth traded for 3 different picks. We now see 3 picks go out of the system to pick up a defenseman. Now, I do have a quote here that I want to read because I think it's one that is very important to Greyhounds fans. Quote from Kyle Raftis, adding Billy to our defensive core was not only important for this season, but we see him playing a key role in the future. Now, I can only imagine that means the Greyhounds are gearing up for a run that'll happen over the next 2 to 3 years. When I saw the Ryan Roth trade, I thought this was it, that they were just going to start detooling. If we got Hayton back, trade him off for picks. But you basically traded for 3 picks, traded out 3 picks, just to switch a forward to a defenseman. I think what we've seen from Billy so far is great. I looked up his highlights. It was an LA Kings tryout, summer tryout and invite. So I think this guy, especially when he comes into his last few years in the OHL, is going to be a big difference maker. Maybe somebody that can fill the shoes of Hollowell next year. He's a great skater with some great IQ. But for right now, I don't think the Greyhounds are thinking Memorial Cup, got to win the division this year. I think they're just trying to get the pieces they need to make sure they can do that over the next 2 seasons.
They definitely have a team, though, that has the ability to compete this year, though,
Yes.
too. And a big question marks going into, let's say, this weekend's action was the defense. I was getting a lot of reaction from friends, scouts, everything of such are saying the Hounds' defense needs to improve. And there's one area that's still a little bit of concern for me is the net with the consistency and more so leaning towards prop than we were with Ethan Taylor with that point, to be totally honest. But I think improving the D-core will help the goalies face less shots, maybe give them the opportunity to clear the puck out, not allow that third shot. Prop and the goal and Ethan Taylor are there to make that save, sometimes a second save. If they have to make the third save, you're a mess defensively.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a big thing.
Right, for the goaltending situation too, I want to give my props to Ethan Taylor though. Guy came into today's stats. Ethan Taylor has the 2nd best goals against average for goalies that have played in 4 games across the entire OHL. Super small sample size, so I know I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself there. But the Ethan Taylor I've seen this year and the Ethan Taylor I saw last year are 2 very, very different players. Ethan Taylor still gets a little jittery with his skates, likes to move a little bit too much, and I think that's something he'll have to work on. But he's stepped up so well for a guy. I was singing his praises when we made the trade in Christian Prop. So far, not so good, but I don't think the defense has been doing too much to help bail him out at the same time.
I've heard a lot of people say that, maybe it's time to give Malik a call. I don't see a difference, but you know what? It's not time to hit the panic button. It's still early in the season.
Yeah.
And you know what? This weekend they win Friday. They end up
Crushed Guelph.
Crushed Guelph on Friday. McKay with a goal and 2 helpers. Pitlick goal and 3 helpers. Dickinson was first OHL goal. Kernans with 2 goals. You know, and the Hounds win 7-1 against the Guelph Storm. And on Sunday, the Owen Sound Attack defeat the Hounds 4-1. And then, of course, yesterday, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds lose to North Bay 7-5. That is on Thanksgiving Monday. So overall, you have a 1-2 weekend, technically, and overall, it's a heartbreaker the way you lose, especially when you have 7 goals against, though. And you score 5 goals in a game, you would think you'd win that hockey game.
Absolutely, and that is going to be a bit of a heartbreaker too. You're up 5-4 in the third. You score that go-ahead goal, and to let that slip away, I think that just kind of relates back to how young this team is. A lot of new faces to the OHL, a lot of new faces to faces that have been on the team for a while, figuring it out. I just mean, as I put in my notes here, prop really hasn't been good enough. If your team can score you 5, you've got to find a way to help your team out and pick up that win.
Yep.
This was a tough road trip for the team, though. I mean, 3 games in 4 days, first road trip of the year, that's pretty rough. And I mean, if you felt burnt out after playing that 7-1 game on Friday, I can see it, but you're going to have to figure out a way to push through the fatigue if you want to be a well-crafted, a well-put-together OHL player.
Overall, and the Hounds right now are still above 500.
Yes.
Okay, and they did start the year 4-0. And at the end of the day, you know, they go into action this weekend with an opportunity to get back the right way. And Constantino is a guy who can put in the right direction. He's a right shot defenseman, too.
Hard to come by.
Very hard to come by. And I think if you keep improving that back end a little bit, the offense is going to speak for itself. Okay?
And I think this season, too, fans should be able to realize that, hey, we did lose a lot of our key pieces last year. Maybe this year, retool. If Kyle Raptis is confident enough in not doing a complete rebuild and retooling, I will believe in him, because I think this trade right here is perfect to put them on the track to a successful retooling.
Definitely. And trading Ryan Roth was just getting the opportunity for youth to come in. And we talked about Ryan Roth on last week's radio broadcast and podcast. So we won't dive into too much about Ryan Roth, but that was a move that you move out a little bit of a piece, you bring in assets, and those assets kind of helped you be able to make a move of such right now, who's somebody that can fit in your top 4 in your defensive core and get those special team minutes. And I'm excited to see more on the special team side. Penalty kill and the power play, I think, is an asset of a little bit more improvement that the Hound needs, but that little bit more grit and that more sandpaper. I don't know, Constantino has been really known to do a lot of that, but he won't be shy to pull away from a hitter, block, and a shot. And I think we're going to see the next step of Raptis do is get a young, grinding third, second liner who's just going to grind in the corner, someone who's going to really go out there and just block those shots, be a prime penalty killer and everything of such, and the Hounds have that ability.
And when it comes to Ryan Roth, too, I don't want to rag on the guy because he put in 3 hard years here. He's seen some really good teams, just not the team that he should be on right now at his stage in the career. But to see a guy like Tanner Dickinson, who just scored his first OHL goal, Mark Boudreau scored his second OHL goal, those are 2 guys that every time they're on the ice, they look like that's exactly where they want to be, and they play so hard. And I absolutely love the way that they take to the game. Getting those guys a couple extra minutes isn't going to hurt a thing.
No, it's not. And as I was just even saying there, I almost forgot to add, but saying they have the ability to be offensive, they just need to change that ability on the defensive side of the puck and that. Getting a little bit stronger. The famous words of Don Cherry. Dave McCaig, Alex Parr on TV studios, Sue Online, listen to the Game Sports Show, multiple platforms. We're going to take our second break. When we come back, we are going to be diving into some local sports. Lots and lots and lots of local sports to talk about. So we're going to take our break, and then we'll come back with that for you. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. He's Alex. I'm Dave. We got lots to talk about here. Part 3, Alex. Okay, and we're going to get chugging? That's the word.
Yeah,
chugging on it. Choo-choo train, I guess. Let's go with that. Can't believe I said choo-choo train on live TV. Moving forward with local sports. Algoma University soccer.
Yes.
We're going to start with. Okay, we don't have our buddy Daniel Scarpino in the middle here today. We can pretend draw him right here. But he's definitely posted an awesome article as always. His article is absolute fire. You can see it on Sue Online. You can see it on the Game Sports Show's Facebook page. But Algoma University soccer recap from last weekend. Sunday the 13th, York defeated the women's Algoma U team 3-0. And then the same day on Sunday, the York men's defeated the Algoma U men's 10-0. And Daniel Scarpino gave a full, as I mentioned, article in terms of comments. Obviously, Alex, 3-0. The women's had a pretty good game against York. York is a top team in the country. Same with the men's side as well. Obviously, the men's didn't have the same kind of close fate, I guess, as the women's did.
No, it comes down to, like we said last segment, location, location, location. Look at York's school size and then look at Algoma University school size, and I think that'll be a pretty telling tale for how the game played out. But I mean, Algoma picked up that huge win last week, and I think they can ride that high for the rest of the year, and they've earned that right.
They could, and this is the interesting thing, as Daniel attested to in the article. They still have a chance to have a final playoff spot. Do both teams.
See?
Now everyone's gonna wonder, huh? They'd have a chance. And you're saying there's a chance. In the words of Jim Carrey. And I'll say right now that going into this weekend, okay, there's kind of a link between the men's and the women's team about in terms of who they're playing. But the women's and men's play Laurier, okay? The ladies will play on the 18th and 19th against Laurier. Friday and Saturday, it'll be at 6 p.m. at University Stadium, and the games can be watched on OUA TV, with only being 3 points out of a playoff spot and having hopes to still make the final playoff spot in the OUA Western Conference. So that's women's side. Now, the men's also play at Laurier this weekend as well at 8 p.m. Thunderbirds are 5 points out of a playoff spot. And as Jim Carrey just said, you're saying there's a chance. With each school between Waterloo, Laurier, and Algoma having 2 games left. That is how it all works out in terms of the point system. We're having 5 points out. They obviously need to sweep out the weekend. 8 p.m. is kickoff this weekend for the men's. We're going to jump into talk about Sioux College now. And good luck to Algoma University this weekend. We're going to have some full recap on our Thursday show as well, a bit more detail. But jumping into Sioux College, the men's hockey team played against Marion Sabres this past weekend, Friday and Saturday, winning 5-4 and winning 5-4, then tying that game on Saturday. So they split the weekend per se, going 1-0-1 to still remain undefeated in regulation time due to Sioux College. But Sioux College, you know, the big names coming out for Sioux College. Andrew Barbeau had an overtime winner in the 5-4 victory. Venderman had a pair of goals and assists. Mark Tassoni and Noah Sayre scored, and Justin Richer made 52 saves for the Cougars.
Yeah, an impressive weekend, but I feel like whenever we talk about Sioux College Cougars hockey, we could just have a Ryan Benjamin track and you just press it. Because all this guy has done since his time suiting up for the blue and black is absolutely light the lamp like it's a Christmas tree. The guy's on fire. He moved up a division. It doesn't look like he's moved at all. Looks like he's still dominating Division III play. Thumbs up to Ryan Benjamin and the rest of the Cougars.
Definitely. Now, on Saturday, as I mentioned, they skated a 2-2 tie, and Richer stopped 41 in that game. The guy had a 93 save weekend, okay? And he only let in, I guess that would be 4 plus 2 equals 6. Look at that, some basic math. I still got it in my elementary school, thanks to Queen Elizabeth Public School. But now we're talking about the Sioux College Cougars in terms of an announcement that they made. That we did talk about it last week a little bit, but we're going to dive into it on our TV portion right here. Sioux College is hosting a Winter Classic in February. Okay, the team will play in Division I team from West Virginia in the ACHA on February the 15th at the Rankin Arena, and game time is set for 7:30 facing the Mountaineers. This news was broken last week, just in case you missed, as I mentioned, and Sioux College Cougars athletic page is where they broke it on Instagram, they broke it on Facebook, and they also tagged us in that Instagram upload, so shout out to Sioux College for that as we continue to cover our local sports, including Sioux College Cougars. But you heard it here in terms of the Winter Classic, and as we announced and talked about it, very cool. Get to play against a Division I team, and as we get to use that term again, a measuring stick.
Exactly what I was about to say too. You want to see how good the Sioux College Cougars are? You put them up against one of the best teams in the entire, I guess, North America college hockey program for the ACHA. It goes so far and wide. Let's see. This could just very well be the most exciting game that the Sioux College Cougars play all year.
Yep.
Looking to get in tickets because I think this might be a game that you're definitely going to watch, especially if you're watching the Game Sports Show.
Definitely, and we'll be there to cover the game as well, pun intended. Sioux College coverage for the weekend. The 18th women's hockey is at 9:30, and also men's hockey at 7 o'clock. 19th, the men's hockey play at 12, and the women's hockey at 4:30 and 8 o'clock. Now, the 20th, men's basketball. There's some basketball coverage there as well, 1 p.m. against Canadore College, and you can check out the previous graphic from the beginning with hockey about who they're playing, etc. Also check on the Game Sports Show and Sioux College website for schedules and follow their social media pages as well. But now transitioning into discussion about some local hockey. The NOJHL has a big tournament this week going on today. It actually started as we all sit here, and games have already went on. Games are currently going on. The games are going on tonight, games tomorrow, games for the week. Over 12 teams are in the weekend tournament and weekday and weekend tournament, should I say, over at the Big Bear in Sioux, Michigan, the showcase tournament. We had Robert Mazuka and Bruno Bragnolo of the Sioux Eagles GM on the show yesterday to interview that. So make sure you check out that interview. Robert Mazuka bringing the NOJHL showcase here. It's a big step, Alex, in terms of, Lake State. It's a hop and a skip away from the Big Bear Arena. And also the Sioux Greyhounds are a skip over the water, if you will, if you're skipping rocks. And also the Sudbury team. There's a lot of local teams that go check it out. And a lot of United States colleges can go check out as they are fans of the NLJHL program that has greatly improved. They've had 7 teams over 8 years ago. Now they're hitting over 12. This league is growing. And to show off this great talent that they have, what better than to have a showcase inside a twin pad arena at the Big Bear in Sioux, Michigan?
Exactly what you said. There's no better way to showcase this talent. It is such a good way for, like you say, to get that spotlight on some local talent and some of the regional talent as they come from different places in the area. So cool. Just think that the NOJHL could have done this 5 years ago. Some people might shake a stick at that. But to see, like you say, NOJHL growing, that's perfect. That's what exactly we want to see for programs like the ones that your kids are playing in, your friends, your brothers, whoever it may be are playing in currently. So thumbs up to the NOJHL.
Definitely. Showcase tournament. That wasn't really around before. Now it is. It's great to see the enhancement overall. Now, to go to talk about the weekend, you can check out everything with your ESPN 1400 and our friends over there at Sovereign Communications and everything. We'll be covering here through Sioux Online, the Game Sports Show, for all your NLJHL showcase needs. But don't hesitate to go out and check out $1.50 a game if you buy the package. $12 basically, you'll see all the games all weekend. What better? And inside the Big Bear Arena. But going into some discussion about the Thunderbirds, Eagles, and Beavers for this previous weekend, the Thunderbirds were a mix of a long losing streak. And the Thunderbirds took the ice 3 times past weekend, losing previously Friday against the Blind River Beavers in overtime 3-2. Saturday, Thunderbirds win by a commanding 8-2 score. To get back in the win column, Colin Haynes had 4 assists in that game. And Sunday, though, Espanola, the first time that the Sioux Thunderbirds have lost to Espanola. Okay, it's the first time, 5-2, that they did lose. The record now 4-7-1-2 for the Sioux Thunderbirds. The Thunderbirds will be at the NLJHL Showcase, the Big Bear. Today they're at 4 o'clock, which has already been played, obviously. And they will also be in the NHL rink against Kirkland Lake. That was the game today. Then Wednesday will be against Cochrane at 6:30. And then the Thunderbirds host the Crunch on Friday at the Sioux Pee Wee Arena. They have a game there, and that'll be Sunday they play against Rayside. The Eagles had a tough 3-game road trip last weekend. That was a devastating road trip up north. That is a hard one to do. And the Eagles go 1-2 on that trip. Friday winning 3-1 against Hearst. Hearst winning 3-1 on Friday. My apologies. Timmins winning 4-3 on Saturday against the Eagles, but the Eagles did defeat Cochrane by a score of 6-1, with Dominic Scarella recording 4 points in that contest. Now the Eagles are now 500, 5-5-1. The Eagles started the showcase today, which is Tuesday at 1 o'clock. They played against French River, but Wednesday they play in the NHL rink against Hearst at 11 a.m., and then they'll host Cochrane at 7 p.m. at the Polar, and then Sunday afternoon at 2 against Blind River. Now, speaking of those Beavers, the Beavers this past weekend were 1-1, as I mentioned earlier, having a home against the Birds. They win 1 and lose 1, and now their record improves to 9-2-1, good for second spot in the West, right behind Rayside Balfour. The Beavers' upcoming games, today they started at 3:30 against Powassan. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock face French River. Then this Saturday the Beavers play Rayside at 7, then the Eagles on Sunday at 2 o'clock, as I mentioned. Now, quickly going to go to the Sioux Indians and the Sioux Junior Greyhounds. Both programs, Alex, before I jump into some of their news before we go to break, both programs have been really thriving.
And that's what we love to see. It seems like there might be a new sense of, I don't know what it would be, a new sense of success in Sault Ste. Marie. To see these younger programs come up and do it great, the NOJHL thriving, maybe the Thunderbirds could use a little bit of help in that success side. But like I say, we've got the panic button here for the NOJHL Thunderbirds. You going to hit it?
Not yet.
Really?
I'm still not hitting it yet. Sorry. I know, talking to Trevor Zachary, the GM of the Birds, I still don't believe how the season can turn around, and they can get back together as soon as the injuries and suspensions, everything comes back together and they start working. It's still young in the year.
Oh, so early.
Definitely. Now, quickly before we do go to break, the Sioux Indians and Sioux Junior Greyhounds in terms of news. The Sioux Indians played Lake Forest Academy Prep from Chicago. The Indians lost Saturday 2-0, but win Sunday 4-2. Gabe Rusick turned away 29 shots. The Indians are back on the road this weekend in Detroit against 3 MAHA Tier 1 league games against Copperware and Honeybaked. And let me tell you, Honeybaked is a superior hockey program, okay? They've developed the likes of Patrick Kane, Ryan Kessler, Alec Martinez, and amongst more NHL company. That'll be a good test for those Indians coached by Patrick Caracato, former Thunderbird coach. Sioux Junior Grand split this past weekend's Kapuskasing, very powerful team in the midget division. They lost Saturday 6-4. They were in that game, but they win 4-1 on Sunday. The Sioux Junior Greyhounds improved the season 7-1 this season right now, and they are idle this upcoming weekend. All the local roundup right there. Whew. Take a quick breath.
Good.
We had a lot to jump into. We crammed everything that we could. Any confusion, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us, and we can provide you a schedule or some news. Don't hesitate to comment below about what you think about the local teams and development that they have had so far this year. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got some MLB discussion. Here we got some MLB playoffs to Alex and I to chat about, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Dave, Alex, Par, McKeag, whatever you want to call us.
They know.
Junior, no initials after his last name.
Oh, true. Yeah, no.
Nothing. That's the only thing we don't follow. Like, you have a first, last name, middle name, but you don't have a other name. Call me other.
Call
other
me
guy.
doctor.
I like that. The doctor. Oh, I like that.
The doctor's in.
I like that. Part 4 of today's show.
Yep.
We got MLB. That's for later.
I think he's played baseball,
That-
judging by that.
No, that's for later, though, in this segment with what I just did there. I'm sure a lot of people are catching the reference to that. But we got current action in baseball. And Connor Henderson is our analyst here on the Game Sports Show for baseball specifically. He's been on a previous edition here on TV. You can definitely check that out. Great. He's been on a previous edition on our radio side. So check out our Podbean page or our website on the Game Sports Show for that. And you know what? Connor knows what he's talking about, and he's done some pretty good gauging on this playoffs. And we're going to have Connor on the show tomorrow when we have our show at Sports Center. We don't know if we're going to use the recorded on that one, but it might be on the Thursday one. Either way, keep an eye on our uploads. Connor Henderson is going to talk about these games that are currently going on. But as we sit here, the game is just wrapping up with the Yankees and Astros, and we're going to let the television station be able to promote you so you can go there and check out the score, or you can check out the apps. But right now, going into action, Yankees and Astros 1-1. This series has been as advertised. Okay, this has been a great series. Okay, you have 7-0 the Yankees defeat the Astros in the first game. People are like, whoa,
Slaughter.
whoa, right? And then you got the second game where you got the Astros between them 3-2. We got okay. Now we got some more a little bit of defense, pitching. Listen, the Astros do got better pitching. Yankees got a better bullpen. Power. I'm actually going to say the Yankees have a slight more bit of power. But all around batting order, the Astros got the Yankees in that, in my honest opinion. Correa, Altuve, Brickman, Springer, all the guys that they have. This is made to be a very good series thus far, Alex.
The only thing that makes me not want to even turn my TV on for this series is how many ex-Blue Jays are on those two rosters. Encarnacion, Giles, Osuna.
Hap, Sanchez, Biagini.
That's what I mean. It's just
All you need is Bautista and Donaldson on that team, and Tulowitzki was a Yankee.
the 2015 Blue Jays are seeing so much success, and it's not with the team that they should be on. But we never want to knock a guy because he's not on the team for whatever reason. So it's great to see players that had maybe some of their better days with the Blue
Maybe
Jays.
everyone will be back next year.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
No. Now, great series thus far. We're going to get to more baseball discussion with Connor on a future edition of the show. But overall, the Yankees and Astros present such a good series, especially on the pitching side of things. I want to see the Yankees bullpen try to shut down the power of the Astros and that deep lineup that they have, but how they play the small ball. But I also want to see how the Yankees' power matches up against the Astros pitching, which is definitely top tier. Nationals and Cardinals. This is very exciting.
Wow.
If you're Bryce Harper, how excited are you? You know?
Not at all.
You got $33 million in your bank account. Yeah, great. You're not going to have a potential to go to the World Series, pal. The Nationals are up 3-0. 2-0, 3-1, and 8-1 wins over the Cards. Just growing each game. Cardinals only have 2 runs in 3 games. Whoa!
I mean, the Nationals are doing what exactly they need to do, and that's capitalize now. I mean, Rendon and Strasburg both could be out of the system next year.
Yep.
Their window is about to be slammed shut right in their face.
Yep.
So at least it's now. But oh my God, Bryce Harper. Bryce, man, talk to me. I know a little bit about heartbreak. I just had to talk about the 2015 Blue Jays, so I know all about heartbreak. Come talk to me.
Heck, the 2016 Blue Jays too.
We'll console you. Trust us.
But Bryce Harper, you may have a big paycheck on him, but you don't have this potentially right there. Or maybe you have that, but maybe I don't know what ring. It depends what finger you put it on the ring, I guess.
depends.
This one's a wedding finger, so a lot of people might not have that. But if you want to have it right here, at the end of the day, you don't have that. The Phillies have a good team, though. I don't know if they're going to be a World Series team in the future. Might not. They got to spend more money to get there. Right now, your team might be in the World Series. Have they won yet? No. We'll continue this conversation in the coming week or so when the World Series gets underway, where it looks like the Nationals might be getting there. But hey, there's still a chance. As that graphic says, that is perfect. You ever see that
Wow.
22 Jump Street when Jonah Hill's on the other side and Channing Tatum's on the other side?
Having a
and
great
Jonah
time.
Hill's side. That's what I'm thinking. That was a great graphic there. Shout out there. So moving on though from that, do you think that the Cardinals are going to come back against the Nationals? And if not, are the Nationals gonna come back or go to the World Series? And if so, who are they playing? Yankees or Astros? Definitely let us know. And you're saying there's a chance. Get that graphic back up there. I love it.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that Cardinals. You might not have so much of a chance.
No, it's not looking good. Next step, though.
Oh, we're going to complete the heartbreak talk.
Yeah, we're going to complete the heartbreak talk. Monday, which was yesterday, and happy belated Thanksgiving, which I didn't really say at the top, where I blew it on that one. But the 4-year anniversary of the Jose Bautista bat flip. Let's just take a second here.
Oh,
Let's watch the graphic. Okay. At this time, I was in my dad's garage. I think I dropped 2 beverages on the floor and broke them. I was screaming at the top of my lungs where my neighbor called me and said, "David, are you okay?" Because I was yelling. It was my buddy Justin Oja and Pat DeLuca.
there it is. Wait. Oh, gone.
Just gone. I was in the garage screaming. We were hugging each other. Oh, that was one of the best Toronto sports moments of my life. I was alive, but I was young for the Joe Carter home run, and I didn't really see the Blue Jays win a World Series. I saw the Raptors win a championship. Alex saw it. We didn't see the Jays win a championship here, but that is one of the most iconic moments in Toronto sports history, and definitely one of the most, if not the most iconic moments. And they didn't even win the World Series, but that bat flip was great. My buddy Nathan Inch was at that game. He's known on the show as Intercontinental Inch. He was at that game, right above it, right looking down, and he said the Rogers Center was shaking. He thought there was going to be a code orange to get out because that stadium was absolutely insane.
Yeah, I was with my buddy Nathan, who's not really the biggest sports fan unless we're talking about soccer. And I think that guy jumped up off the couch before I did when Bautista hit that home run. My place was going nuts too, but I can only imagine the Rogers Center being there. Intercontinental Inch.
Intercontinental Inch.
Yeah, you are one lucky. I could choose my words. I'm going to do them carefully. One lucky guy.
Definitely. You have the bat flip, but then you have the bat drop the next year with Encarnacion. Oh, it's just lots of time. That was the 4-year anniversary. We'll never forget that moment with Jose Bautista. Thank you for giving us that. I was so excited. Too bad you didn't cap it off at the end of the year, but nonetheless, it was great to see. Alex, I finally got that wrong. Dave, Alex, and we're going to take our last break here on the show. When we come back, we got In the Pocket here on The Game. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. I'll get this right this time. Dave, Alex.
Perfect.
Got
Nailed it.
We're going into the last part of the show where the graphic just showed it, and as I did say in the previous part, we got In the Pocket here, and we got lots of football to talk about from the local perspective and the professional perspective. Okay, and make sure you follow us tomorrow from Sports Center Bar and Grill, where we have an action-packed In the Pocket segment as well there, but this will transition us nicely into tomorrow's show. And speaking of local football, we're going to jump into some senior and local news right here as the playoff scene it's just getting ready to go underway here. And the senior Colts, okay, capped off a perfect regular season on Friday in senior football. And despite persistent rainy conditions, if you would say, the Colts picked up a 40-7 win over the Superior Heights Steelhawks to finish the regular season with a 4-0 record. Thanks to finishing in the top spot, the Colts advanced straight to the city finals in a three-team senior look. The Steelhawks, who finished the season 0-4, will return to action on the 18th when they play semifinals against St. Mary's, who finished 2-2, with the winner earning another spot in the city final the week later against those Cora Colts. Now, for junior action, the St. Mary's Knights needed a late game push on Thursday evening in junior football, and the Knights scored 3 touchdowns in the game in the quarter to eventually win 31-3 over the White Pines Wolverines in that game at Superior Heights. The Knights trailed early in the second quarter after a 19-yard field goal by White Pines Sam Smith, no, not the singer, in the opening minute of the quarter, and led to 6-3 at the half before picking up the win at the end of the game, and now improved their record to 2-4. Matthew Malcolm and Adam Morganson had 2 touchdowns each in the Knights' victory. So now that is the whole playoff picture. You know, the Steelhawks are the top in the junior football, and they're going to be playing against White Pines. You're going to have Cora and Mary's go head-to-head. The winner of that going against the finals, who obviously a lot of favoritism going towards the Steelhawks, but it's good to see with the White Pines program being able to actually field the team on junior, where they're unable to do with the senior team. With senior football, Cora has been the dynasty.
Yeah.
Of that, and Tom Annett, big follower, big supporter of the show. He's been on the show, Core Football. You can follow them on Instagram. They've been really promoting this show through on TV and through the GameSportsShow.com as well, and Sue Online. And all in all, this Core program, TPW, that hashtag, it's top key. Tommy Annett running a tight ship there in Cora.
Yeah, I went and talked to him, I think it was the beginning of last season, where I asked where TPW came. And he said, you know, I brought the parents in and I brought the students in. And I wanted to find out what the core values of that team were. Here we are like 4 years later, and they're nationally recognized as one of the top programs. I think they came as high as 23. I could be mistaken in saying that. But if you're a top 30 program in Canada, in a city as small as Sault Ste. Marie, you are doing something right. For my time being at Cora, where they dreamed about having a program as good as it is now, to see it come to fruition, nobody deserves that more than Tom Annett, hands down.
Definitely not. He's changed and he evolutionized that program, because that program from when we were in high school, I know you're a little bit younger than I am, but even I think when you were there, it started to ascend in the right direction.
Yes.
But when I was in high school, the core football program was not really existent to being that successful. And I know Dustin Grondin, one of our analysts on the show, was a part of that football program, and he might say a little bit different, but at the end of the day, you know, the Dunn was a very superior team, and Tommy Annett was at the helm of that there. And he has the reputation. He's had the university football experience. He knows how to run a team. He's done a great job there in Cora. And here on the Game Sports Show, we're hoping to have a coaches panel interview for tomorrow or on Thursday from either Sports Center or Northern to talk about football with the senior coaches, as well as we hope to plan some out with on TV to be there as well. We're trying to figure out the date, but it'd be good to see the perspective that we get from the coaches there. But overall, to talk about the football in itself, Cora has a chance to win the championship yet again, and then they have a chance to go to OFSA. They have a chance to repeat their championship,
Yeah,
and I know they want to win again.
Yeah, it's been at least 2 years now that they haven't lost a regular season game. I know they dropped a couple of exhibition games to teams in the States, those measuring stick games, but those are exhibitions, so those don't go down.
Measuring stick episode.
Yes, they don't go down on the standings, but to play games in the States, that's great too, and that just kind of shows the reach and how teams are receiving the Cora program outside of Sault Ste. Marie, outside of Canada even.
Definitely. Now we're going to transition from local football. We'll talk more in the pocket local perspective tomorrow from Sports Center at 9 o'clock here on the Game. But we're going to transition to some professional football now. And here on, for what we do on the TV side of the show, because we do a lot of football discussion, as I mentioned, on Wednesdays of the show and or Thursdays, and also Mondays. I say every show we talk about local professional football, but we want to keep this simple, where you're going to pick a game from week 6.
Yep.
I'm going to pick a game from week 6, the game that stuck out to us the most. Pick a game from week 7 and that we're going to think is our game of the week, and then we're going to give one tidbit about week 6 on a sort of cross beside table discussion before we end tonight's show. So I'm going to go to you first. Week 6, what is your game of the week that you want to jump into?
Last week, I said my week 6 game looking ahead would be the 49ers and Rams, and that's what I have stuck with. I thought the 49ers would finally come into a team that is good on paper. They were 3-2 going into the game, I believe. And so I thought this would be the 49ers' real test. They beat them 20-7. Goff threw for only 78 yards. What's in the water there? I don't know what it is. I don't think any NFL fan coming into the season would have said Garoppolo is the Lord and Savior of this franchise, but it seems seemingly to be that. Long season ago, they could literally lose every single game until the end of the season, and I'll be laughing at myself for this, but there is no point in the season that has yet to make me think the 49ers are going to fall off the trail that they've already started.
Definitely not. You know what? You start the other way. Richard Sherman's had a big part of that there as well. The defensive side of the football. He's a former Seahawk. He's a former winner, and he's brought a. You know, a lot of people don't like the way his attitude is present, but he's definitely brought some winning culture there and it's been a good change. And Jimmy G, don't forget, was under Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Everyone predicted that this guy was going to be good. He missed all of last year. He's coming back this year looking rested and ready to go. And I picked the Niners for I dropped my Chargers defense in fantasy, and I got a little fantasy discussion to get to before we close the show. You know this.
Oh, yeah.
But I picked up the 49ers defense. Hopefully I get the waiver claim because I want that defense for next game. But my Week 6 game, I changed mine, Alex.
Oh.
My game, okay, of the week, and I'm going to have to go through the Texans and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are being exposed. Deshaun Watson exposed that Chiefs defense with throwing some good touchdowns, but rushing the football was big in that game for Hyde and for Watson. Watson got a couple touchdowns. Hyde got a touchdown, ran over for 100 yards in the game. The Texans are a good football team, okay, and they're good defensively. The Chiefs are being exposed. They were actually first exposed, okay, by the Lions. The Lions exposed Patrick Mahomes for throwing no touchdown passes a few weeks ago. Now teams have watched this game tape. They know how to shut down Mahomes in the offense. And if you're an offensive juggernaut that the Chiefs are, you just got to have a good sort of tight defense that the Texans do have. And if you have a good offensive power that the Texans have, because they're not a juggernaut up front, but they're offensively powered, with Watson having that arm, you can expose that Chiefs defense. So you got to go back to that Lions game. That was the game where Mahomes and company got exposed. Week 7, and I'll go first. My upcoming games for Week 7, for my game of the week, and I'll jump into this more tomorrow, is the Ravens and Seahawks. People are going to think that's crazy, but Russell Wilson, not only because he's on my fantasy team, but the Ravens had a great start to the year. The Seahawks are looking very good. They don't crumble under pressure, the Seahawks. And the Ravens are looking good as well. Jackson's looking good throwing that football.
Absolutely.
But Russell Wilson has been doing Russell Wilson things. That defense is looking back in old form. And at the end of the game, that is my game of the week for Week 7. What about yourself, Alex?
I might have to take off the analyst hat and put on my cheese head. Excuse me. Well, I'm most looking forward to the Vikings and the Lions. Now, that's going to have huge implications in the NFC North. Oh my goodness, my notes are all jumbled here. But if the Lions can win after such a matinee of referee blunders
and we're going to talk about that.
And social media was a buzz with jumping all over the Lions, and it seems like that is the team that can never catch the break when they need to. And as a Packers fan, I mean, how much can I really complain? I mean, the Packers have been doing fantastic this season. It's something that I never would have predicted coming into the season, along with the 49ers' success. But the Vikings and the Lions have a big chance to set themselves away from the pack and closer to the Packers if they can pick up a win in next week's game.
I like that. Now you have the position where we're going to talk about the referee side in our edition tomorrow when we have more time. But my final thought, okay, I'm going to go to, I have thumbs up this week. You already gave it to Crosby. That's our same thumbs up. Thumbs down the refs in the NFL, but also thumbs down to my fantasy. Okay? Listen, I know it's really no time, but I'm going to say quickly here, okay, that I am 3-3 this year in fantasy football. Okay? 2 of my 3 losses had over 150 points. How do you lose? Jimmy Graham needed to get 4 points for me to win this week. He got 3.9. Okay, listen, this is a big pool. I haven't won an NFL fantasy football pool. I've never lost except one, a hockey pool, and I have 12-1, Alex, just so you know, in hockey pools. But NFL, I've got second twice, third twice, that's 3. But I need a first, okay? I'm cursed when it comes to this, okay? I need a championship for my fantasy. And Jimmy Graham, you screwed me, buddy. You screwed me. I could have won last week, and you dropped the ball in the end zone with Aaron Rodgers, threw it right in your hands. Right here. I could have caught that. Okay, I could have caught that. I ain't no receiver. You can ask Tom Hannon. I don't know how to play no football. Maybe I can, but I'm just saying. But I'm going to tell you right now, fantasy football better change around. That's my thumbs down as my fantasy team, except Christian McCaffrey. That guy's beast.
And my closing thoughts, maybe sometimes it's not the team, but the guy leading it.
Oh, that's not fair. Dave and Alex here inside On TV, Sue Online. We got more shows coming this week, Wednesday and Thursday. Make sure you follow us on the game. Make sure you follow On TV and Sue Online and all of our media platforms. I want to say thank you for joining us here today on this action-packed edition. And we're going to get back to some more sports tomorrow, so make sure you follow us on there, as I mentioned. And I said it again for a reason, so it imprints up there. Dave and Alex for the game going. Make sure I remind you to have a great night and booyah.